now.
The current housing market is giving some local potential home buyers cold feet. This is KOAM News at 5. Mortgage interest rates have increased since the beginning of the year. In January, the market rates were around 3%. Now the national average is hovering around 6%. That increase in rates has greatly affected the buying power of potential home buyers.
At an interest rate of 3%, if you want about $1,000 monthly mortgage rate, you can shop around $250,000. But now the interest rates have climbed. If you look at a 6% interest rate, a buyer that wants $1,000 monthly payment is now only shopping around $174,000.
Despite the increase in mortgage rates, some local realtors say the market's about to shift to the buyer's advantage. We're going to have more on that for you tonight at 6. Voters in Missouri and Kansas will head to the polls tomorrow for primary elections. On the ballot in both states are some state and local races. Kansans will also decide a constitutional amendment on the right to abortion. In Missouri, polls will open at 6 a.m., run until 7 p.m. In Kansas, they're open from 7 to 7. We're going to have the latest results on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A $3 million federal grant will help fund the commercialization of materials made on the campus of Pittsburgh State University. State and local leaders made the announcement today at the university's Tyler Research Center. That's home to the National Institute for Materials Advancement, where the school works with scientists and government agencies to find ways to use sustainable materials to create products. The grant will help find ways to make those products commercially available.
So materials manufacturing is critical to the area. We bring that in. We've got a core competence in polymers and plastics. We're training the workforce here. We've got a skilled workforce. It only makes sense that as we build this out, then we diversify the economy and everybody wins in that.
The organizer says the grant will launch the Center for Commercialization, which will take the research to the next level. The center is going to bring in business partners and help create economic development teams. Meteorologist Sam Lane is new to the weather team, and he joins us with a first look at the weather.
Thank you very much, Dow. I wish I had better news to bring you. We've had heat and humidity starting to come back across our area. In fact, today we made it up to 98 degrees, so yeah, we're getting close to that century mark again. Normal is 91, so it looks like August is starting off on a bad note. We're nowhere near the record, though, of 108, but don't be surprised if maybe we start flirting with some records again if things start to hold up. Radar right now is pretty much clear. This is all just moisture right now being picked up on the radar. However, there is one lone thunder shower way up to the north in Bates County, just south and west of Butler, north of Rich Hill, not really amounting to too much. What is in plenty supply is the heat. Look at the temperatures across the region. 96 in Joplin, 99 in Wichita, 93 in Oklahoma City, 100 in North Platte. So this kind of gives you an idea that the ridge of high pressure is building back, and that means the heat is going to return. Tonight, though, pretty pleasant with lows in the mid-70s, but like I said, we are expecting some heat and also a chance of storms in the forecast. So we'll have that in just a few.
All right, we'll see you then. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is in Asia with a group of congressional Democrats. In a statement, the speaker said the trip is to, quote, reaffirm America's strong and unshakable commitment to our allies and friends in the region. But there are new tensions between the U.S. and China over whether she could add a stop in Taiwan. Reporter Natalie Brand has more from Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi kicked off her trip to Asia in Singapore, meeting with the nation's prime minister and president. Joining her are several House Democrats, with stops also planned in Malaysia, South Korea, and Japan. The group says it plans to hold high-level meetings to discuss topics including peace and security, economic growth, human rights, and democracy. But tensions between the U.S. and China have ratcheted up over reports the speaker could also make a possible stop in Taiwan as soon as Tuesday.
Speaker Pelosi, will you be going to Taiwan?
Speaker Pelosi has not confirmed the visit, though Taiwanese-American lawyer Jan Young Lin says a possible stop would be a strong show of support.
I hope she can actually go to Taiwan.
In a phone call between Chinese President Xi Jinping and President Biden last week, China warned against playing with fire.
Beijing considers Taiwan its territory, though the island is self-rule. China says it would regard a possible Pelosi visit as a provocation.
Monday, a spokesman for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs repeated warnings of possible military action, saying the country could, quote, take strong countermeasures to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
There is no reason for Beijing to turn a potential visit consistent with long-standing U.S. policy into some sort of crisis or conflict.
Washington's One China policy recognizes that Taiwan is part of China, but supports Taiwan's democratic values and opposes any forced change to the status. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, if Speaker Pelosi does decide to go to Taiwan, she would be the highest-ranking U.S. government official to visit since former House Speaker Newt Gingrich went back in 1997. President Biden is once again working in isolation after testing positive for COVID-19 on the heels of his first bout with the virus. The president's physician called it rebound positivity and says the president is symptom-free. The first ship carrying grain from Ukraine set off from the port city of Odessa today under a deal brokered by the United Nations and Turkey. It's aimed at easing soaring global food prices. The ship, packed with 28,000 tons of corn, is bound for Lebanon. It's the first shipment since Russia's invasion more than 5 months ago. Still ahead, a human problem impacting our furry friends.
I'm Michael George with more on how animal shelters and owners are struggling.
Health Watch efforts to raise awareness about screening for lung cancer. Hospitals are reporting an uptick in parvovirus cases among infants. Cases are typically mild for children but can lead to severe disease when a baby younger than 3 months is infected. Some doctors believe the easing of COVID precautions could be connected to that increase. Today is World Lung Cancer Day, raising awareness about the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. A new survey shows many Americans don't know about the screening, which can detect the disease early for people at high risk. Reporter Danya Bacchus has one California woman's story.
Denise Lee passed a billboard like this every day on the way home from work in 2017, encouraging lung cancer screening for people at high risk. She had just quit smoking after 40 years.
I was just trying to all around get healthy. I did not know that there was such a thing as a low-dose CT scan until I saw that billboard.
She asked her doctor about screening, but had to wait a few months until she turned 55 to be eligible. She scheduled her scan later, and it revealed early stage 1B lung cancer.
I had my upper left lobe removed. I had 17 lymph nodes removed. And then I had some factors that were indicative of a higher rate of recurrence.
A new American Lung Association survey shows nearly 70% of Americans are not familiar with the availability of lung cancer screening for early detection.
75% of people in this country who are diagnosed with lung cancer are diagnosed at this most advanced stages where it's hardest to cure.
Dr. David Tom Cook is the chief of general thoracic surgery at UC Davis Health.
Of all the Americans who are candidates, only 5% of Americans undergo lung cancer screening.
Guidelines now recommend screening for people between age 50 and 80 with a 20-pack year smoking history, and current smokers or ones who have quit within the last 15 years. Denise had surgery and only needed 4 rounds of chemotherapy.
Early detection, saved my life. I'm just really passionate about people who are eligible getting screened.
She was also able to take part in a clinical trial testing an immunotherapy drug to try to prevent recurrence. Danya Bacchus, CBS News.
About 14 million Americans are considered high risk for lung cancer and are recommended for screening. New findings show women get lower quality treatment for kidney disease compared to men. A study in Sweden finds women with chronic kidney disease are less likely to be diagnosed, monitored, or referred to a specialist. Researchers say the disparities could be due to biases or due to biological differences that make the disease tougher to detect in women. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, a popular sunscreen brand is recalled because of cancer concerns.
And the heat is back, and I'll be back in a few minutes to tell you how long it's going to stick around. Well, the break was nice while it lasted, but unfortunately it is summertime still, and the heat has started to come back into our area. This evening, though, down in Seneca, it's a pretty nice, pleasant evening. Just a few alto cumulus clouds out there at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. If you're heading down that way, pretty pleasant evening across the area. Now, let's take a look at July real quickly, because this was pretty impressive. We had 25 days above normal and only 2 normal days and 4 below normal, which was, of course, this weekend where we were 81 and 90. And as a result, the month of July was just absolutely hot around here. The hottest, though, was back in 1954 when the average temperature was 89.4. And of course, not too long ago, about 10 years, we had a pretty hot summer then too, with number 3 and number 4 on the rank. So how did we do this July? Well, we averaged out 98 degrees for the high, 74 for the low, and 86 for the average temperature. So that means we ended up being the 5th hottest July in Joplin history and 14th driest. So we definitely need some rainfall. And you can see on the radar amounts last night, very few and far between. Sparse amounts of rain last night, a little bit over there just to the north and east of Springfield, but nada here in the 4 states. We desperately need some rainfall. Temperatures right now are still in the upper 90s, 97 in Joplin, 92 in Anderson, a little bit cooler down in Bella Vista with 90. But check out Chanute, they're 99 degrees right now. And when you factor in the dew point, this is what it actually feels like. It's back up over 100, 101 in Yates Center, 101 in Independence, 101 in Nowata, 104 in Stockton right now. Definitely very unpleasant right now. 97 in Joplin, southwest wind at 16. It's been breezy all day, helping a little bit, but it still feels like 100 out there because the dew point is currently at 66 degrees. Now, we did talk about rain. We desperately need the rainfall, and the forecast does look like we're going to get a little bit of rain in the rain bucket, but not a whole lot. So don't get your hopes up too much. Around 1100s by the time we roll into Thursday is what the models are forecasting across our area. We do expect a front to drop down from the north, and that's why we're expecting the precip chances to start to increase, but not tonight. Instead, lows are going to be right around 80 degrees tonight at 10, I should say, and then tomorrow morning as we go through time, maybe a spot or two, a shower up to the north, lows in the mid to upper 70s, and then as we go through tomorrow, look at this, 100 degrees plus back towards the west, here in Joplin around 98, 99 degrees, we'll just call it 100, shall we? And then as we go through Wednesday, here comes the first front, but it's very weak. And as it comes through, it kind of dies out. We have to wait for another front to drop down from the north late Wednesday night into early Thursday, and that's the one that's going to sweep through and maybe introduce a chance of showers in our forecast. And Dow, over the next 7 days, it looks like 100 degrees pays a visit again on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, I drop the temperature a little bit, but it gets right back into the heat on Saturday and Sunday and into Monday. So summer still rolling on.
Obviously so. At least there's a chance for rain in that forecast, not enough. But
that's right, here and there, but not enough.
It's good to have you as part of the weather team, filling in for
back in the 4 states.
Filling in for Doug tonight. We're going to be seeing you more on weekends and occasionally
Doug
during
will
the
be
week.
back tomorrow.
Very good. Thanks again, Sam. At least 30 people have died. Dozens are unaccounted for after catastrophic flooding in Kentucky. Thousands of people have no power. Emergency crews have rescued thousands of people in just a matter of days, but those efforts could last weeks as first responders struggle to access damaged areas. Coming up, how inflation is also impacting our pets. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Peter Massa served in the U.S. Navy from 1956 to 1979. The Girard, Kansas native was stationed in the South Pacific, and we are proud to salute Senior Chief Radioman Peter Massa, a 4-state hero. Of course, you can learn about lots of other heroes from all across this area. You can also submit a hero of your own anytime. It's very simple. You just click on the link on our website. You know what that is, KOAMnewsnow.com. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a popular sunscreen to prevent skin cancer might pose a cancer risk of its own. Banana Boat's hair and scalp sunscreen is being recalled after tests detected trace levels of the carcinogen benzene. Edgewell Personal Care Company, which makes the sunscreen, says the recall applies to 3 batches of their SPF 30 spray. The affected sunscreen lots have expiration dates of December 2022, February of 2023, or April of 2024. Number of cruise lines are dropping the requirement of a pre-cruise COVID test for vaccinated guests on shorter trips. In the coming days, Carnival Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean, and MSC Cruises will no longer require pre-cruise testing for vaccinated guests on trips of 5 nights or less. And Virgin Voyages, Azamara, and Margaritaville at Sea are dropping required pre-embarking testing. The changes come after the CDC ended its COVID-19 program for cruise ships last month. Falling gasoline prices are giving drivers a much-needed break. The national average for a gallon of gas has been hovering close to $4.20 for regular. That's according to AAA after recently breaking above $5 a gallon for the first time. But AAA cites new data showing demand rising, which says could renew price pressures at the pump. Animal shelters in some areas of our country are seeing more pets return to their care. Some owners struggling with the rising cost of rent, food, and gas are making the difficult decision to surrender their cat or dog. Factors that might also prevent potential pet families from making the commitment to bring an animal into their home. Reporter Michael George takes a look at the effects of inflation on those furry friends.
Mira Horowitz of Lucky Dog Animal Rescue unloads a transport van of animals fortunate enough to be finding homes.
This is the toughest summer that I have seen in 13 years of being involved in animal welfare.
Horowitz and her team work with High Kill Shelters, bringing animals to the DC metro area for foster and adoption. But those needing a home have far outpaced people looking for a pet.
I've never turned down puppies. I am turning down puppies this year.
Data from Best Friends Animal Society show 355,000 cats and dogs were killed in U.S. shelters in 2021, the first increase in 5 years. Inflation-induced financial hardship is now forcing some owners to surrender their pets.
We had to make a decision about, we need a roof for the baby and us.
And shelters in parts of the country are overwhelmed and understaffed.
We only have so much space in our facility, so if we don't have the room, then we have to tell them no.
Another reason for the animal surplus, a suspension of spay and neuter early in the pandemic.
Now we're in the 4th generation of those unwanted litters that came out of that time.
Organizations like the ASPCA are offering assistance to owners in need, ranging from food to veterinary care, to help keep pets in their forever homes. The ASPCA's community veterinary clinics, like this one in Brooklyn, provide partially and fully subsidized preventative care to qualifying pet owners.
There is a wide spectrum of what pet owners can afford, and all along that spectrum, there's a limit to how much people can pay for care.
Horowitz hopes the dog days of summer don't slow down the pace of giving these little guys a new leash on life. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, to save on medical care, Dr. Brown suggests discussing your budget with your veterinarian because there's typically a range of treatments available. And even if you can't take in a pet yourself, animal welfare experts suggest contributing your time as a shelter volunteer or making a donation. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at several extreme weather events happening across the U.S. right now. Then on KOAM News at 6, what the City of Joplin's backup plan is if Proposition Public Safety is not approved by voters tomorrow. Plus, how the Cherokee County Sheriff plans to spend a $60,000 federal grant and a change to Mercy Hospital's policy for who can get a COVID-19 test. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Obviously, the heat has returned. I'd like to say that it's not going to stick around, but unfortunately, Sam, I guess it is going to stick around.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to start off August very much like we started July. Temperatures close to 100 degrees. I did drop it to 94 on Thursday with a chance of storms. Fingers crossed on that. But look at Saturday and Sunday, right back close to 100 degrees with a 20% chance of storms, mainly to the south and east. And on the extended, yep, you got it, more heat and maybe a chance of storms on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Well, highs in the 90s, a little bit better than triple digits.
We'll take it.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.